The bullet never came. Min-jun's body tensed, waiting for impact, for pain, for darkness. But what came instead was T's voice, sharp and urgent through his earpiece. "Sniper down, rooftop 11 o'clock, we got him." Min-jun's eyes snapped open. Zara was staring at him, confusion and fear written across her face. "What just happened?" she whispered. "Insurance," T said, steering the boat harder toward the FBI rendezvous point. "You think I'd let you walk into a federal deal without every angle covered, boss?" Min-jun's heart was still racing. He looked at Zara, really looked at her. Blood drying on her face, hair wild from the wind, eyes fierce despite everything. She'd been kidnapped, beaten, used as bait, and she was still here, still fighting. "We're not out of this yet," Min-jun said quietly. The FBI safe house was a nondescript building in Red Hook, the kind of place that looked abandoned but hummed with surveillance equipment and armed agents. Agent Lisa Chen met them at the door, her expression unreadable. She was petite, sharp-eyed, wearing a blazer that probably concealed a weapon. "Kang Min-jun," she said. "Zara Jackson, please come in, we have much to discuss." Inside, the room was sterile. White walls, metal table, recording equipment visible in the corners. 3 other agents stood against the wall, watching. Min-jun felt Zara's hand slip into his. Her palm was sweaty. She was scared, he realized. Not of the pier, not of the gunfire, but of this. Of the system that had already failed her once. "Before we start," Min-jun said, voice cold and controlled, "I need guarantees." Agent Chen sat down, folding her hands. "You're not in a position to make demands, Mr. Kang." "Then we walk." Min-jun turned toward the door. "Wait." Chen's voice softened slightly. She glanced at Zara. "Sit, let's talk like adults." They sat. Min-jun kept Zara's hand in his. Chen pulled out a file. "Zara Jackson, wanted for questioning in the death of Marcus Webb, Atlanta, 3 years ago. Warrant dropped due to lack of evidence and witness cooperation." She looked up. "We know it was self-defense. Kenya Webb gave a statement. We know Marcus was compromised, that he was going to flip, that the disciples wanted him dead anyway." Zara's grip on Min-jun's hand tightened. "What we want," Chen continued, "is Volkov, the Bratva, and your organization, Mr. Kang." She paused. "But we're practical. We know the Korean syndicates will exist with or without you. What we want is the Russians. They're importing fentanyl, running human trafficking operations, destabilizing entire neighborhoods." Min-jun leaned forward. "And in exchange?" "Full immunity for Ms. Jackson. Witness protection if she wants it, though I suspect she won't. Protection for Kenya Webb, and..." Chen paused. "Conditional immunity for you." "Conditional how?" "You give us Volkov and the Bratva, you testify, and then you walk away from organized crime. Completely. We'll monitor you for 5 years. 1 slip and the deal's off." Min-jun felt the weight of it. Walk away. From everything he'd built. Every connection, every revenue stream, every piece of power he'd clawed together from nothing. He looked at Zara. Her eyes were wide, searching his face. "I need a moment with her," Min-jun said. "Alone." Chen hesitated, then nodded. 5 minutes. The room's still recording, but we'll step out." When the agents left, Zara turned to him. "You can't do this. This is your entire life." "My entire life has been empty," Min-jun said quietly. "Until you." "Min-jun." "Listen to me." He took both her hands. "I've spent 10 years building an empire that's made me rich, feared, and completely alone. I've hurt people. I've ordered things that keep me awake at night. I told myself it was survival, that it was the only way." His voice cracked. "And then you walked into my life and made me feel human again." Tears spilled down Zara's cheeks. "You can't give up everything for me. What if you resent me later? What if?" "The only thing I'll resent is if I lose you because I was too proud to change." He wiped her tears with his thumb. "You're finishing nursing school. You're going to save lives. What am I doing? Running casinos and protection rackets." He laughed bitterly. "That's not a legacy. That's just violence with expensive suits." "What would you even do?" she whispered. "I don't know," he admitted. "Figure it out with you, if you'll have me." Zara kissed him then, deep and desperate, tasting like salt and hope and fear and love all mixed together. When they pulled apart, she was smiling through tears. "Okay," she whispered. "Let's burn it down together." They called the agents back in. "We have a deal," Min-jun said, "but I have conditions of my own." Chen raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." Kenya Webb gets full protection, not just surveillance. Actual relocation if she wants it, new identity, financial support. Agreed. My people, the ones who aren't dirty, who just worked legitimate businesses under my umbrella, they don't get caught in the crossfire. The casino employees, the restaurant workers, they walk away clean. Chen considered. We'll need to vet them, but yes, we're after the Bratva, not line cooks. And T and Hyun, Min-jun said. They get immunity too. They were following orders, my orders. That's pushing it. Non-negotiable. Min-jun's voice went hard. They've saved my life a dozen times. They don't go down because of my choices. Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Conditional immunity. Same terms as you. They walk away clean, they stay clean. Done. The next 72 hours were a blur of depositions, wiretaps, and coordinated raids. Min-jun gave them everything. Bank accounts, shipping schedules, names of corrupted officials, locations of Bratva safe houses. Every piece of intelligence he'd gathered over a decade. Zara stayed by his side through all of it, her hand in his during breaks, her presence the only thing keeping him grounded. On the third night, T pulled him aside. Boss, you sure about this? Don't call me boss anymore, Min-jun said quietly. I'm not your boss, I'm just Min-jun now. T's jaw worked. You're really walking away. Yeah. What are you going to do? Min-jun looked at Zara across the room, talking quietly with Agent Chen about Kenya's relocation. I have no idea, but I'm going to figure it out. T was quiet for a moment, then he stuck out his hand. It's been an honor. Min-jun shook it, throat tight. Take care of yourself. You too, and boss. T smiled slightly. She's good for you, don't screw it up. The FBI raid on the Bratva happened on a Thursday night. Simultaneous hits on 15 locations across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Volkov was arrested at his estate in Alpine, surrounded by enough evidence to put him away for life. 37 of his people went down with him. Min-jun watched it on the news from the safe house. Zara curled against his side on the couch. It's really over, she whispered. Yeah. Are you okay? He thought about it. Was he? He'd just dismantled everything he'd built, betrayed people who'd trusted him, become exactly what the criminal world hated most, a rat. But Zara's head was on his shoulder. Her breathing was steady. She was safe. Kenya was safe, and for the first time in 10 years, he didn't have blood on his hands. Yeah, he said finally, I think I am. Agent Chen came by the next morning with paperwork. It's done. Volkov's in federal custody. The Bratva's leadership is decimated, and you're free to go. Min-jun stared at the release papers. Just like that. Just like that. Don't make me regret this, Mr. Kang. I won't. Chen looked at Zara. Your warrant is officially expunged. As far as the system's concerned, it never existed. Kenya's in protective custody in Charlotte. She's safe. She asked me to give you this. She handed Zara a letter. Zara's hands shook as she opened it. Zara, I always knew you didn't kill Marcus out of anything but survival. I'm sorry I couldn't do more back then. I was scared too. But I'm proud of you, for surviving, for building a life, for finding someone who sees you. Be happy, little sister. You've earned it. Love. Kenya. Zara was crying by the end. Min-jun pulled her close. Thank you, Zara said to Chen. Chen nodded. Don't waste this second chance, either of you. They walked out of the safe house into bright November sunlight. New York looked different somehow. Cleaner, like possibility instead of territory. So, Zara said, squinting up at him, what now? Min-jun had been thinking about that. How much longer in nursing school? 1 semester. I graduate in May. And then? Then I take my boards, get licensed, find a job at a hospital probably. She paused. What about you? I have money, Min-jun said. Legitimate money in accounts the feds didn't touch. Enough to, I don't know, start over. Do something that doesn't involve hurting people. Like what? He thought about it, about his skills, about what had actually made him good at running an organization, reading people, managing complex systems, strategic thinking. Business consulting, maybe, he said. Help small businesses grow, analyze markets, use my brain for something constructive. Zara smiled. That's very legitimate of you. I'm trying this new thing where I'm not a criminal. She laughed, and the sound filled something in his chest that had been empty for years. They went back to Zara's apartment in Queens. It felt surreal, walking through her door like normal people. No bodyguards, no one watching, just them. I need to shower, Zara said. I feel like I've been wearing these clothes for a week. Go ahead. She paused at the bathroom door. Min-jun. Yeah. Thank you for choosing me. His throat went tight. You made it easy. While she showered, Min-jun looked around her apartment. Books everywhere. Her cat, a fat orange tabby named Mango, wound around his ankles. Photos on the wall, Zara with her aunt, Zara at her high school graduation, Zara and Kenya as kids, laughing. This was what a life looked like. Not penthouses and power, just a life. He could do this. When Zara came out, she was wearing soft clothes, hair damp, face clean. She looked young, unburdened. Hey, she said softly. Hey. She walked over to him, took his hands. We still haven't. His complication. Right. In all the chaos, they'd never actually addressed it. I know, Min-jun said, and I understand if you... Stop, she touched his face. I told you, I'm not running because of biology, but we should probably talk about it, practically. He nodded. They sat on her couch, Mango immediately claiming Zara's lap. So, she said, clinical and matter-of-fact, you're significantly above average size. That's not a curse, it's just anatomy, and anatomy has solutions. Despite everything, Min-jun felt his face heat. I've tried. I know, with women who panicked, but I'm not panicking, I'm problem-solving. She counted on her fingers. More foreplay, different positions, lots of communication, maybe some toys to help with preparation, patience. She looked at him. This isn't an insurmountable problem, Min-jun. It's just something we figure out together. You make it sound simple. It is simple, not easy maybe, but simple. She leaned closer. I want you, all of you, and I'm willing to put in the work to make it good for both of us, are you? He stared at her. This woman who'd survived murder, poverty, running, who'd stood in a warehouse and confessed her darkest secret, who'd been kidnapped and beaten and had still looked at him with love. She was willing to figure this out. With him. Yes, he said. God, yes. She kissed him then, slow and deep, and when she pulled back, her eyes were dark with want. Not tonight, she whispered. We're both exhausted and traumatized, and we should probably sleep for like 14 hours. But soon. Soon, he agreed. They fell asleep on her couch, tangled together, Mango purring between them. And for the first time in months, Min-jun slept without nightmares. The next few weeks fell into a rhythm. Zara went back to classes, diving into her final semester with renewed focus. Min-jun started reaching out to business consultants, taking online courses, figuring out what a legitimate career might look like. They took things slow, dates that didn't end in gunfire, cooking together, watching terrible reality TV, learning each other in quiet moments instead of crisis. Kenya called from Charlotte. She was safe, working at a library, seeing a therapist. She and Zara talked for 2 hours, crying and laughing and healing together over the phone. T and Hyun both reached out. They'd taken the immunity deal, both walking away from the life. T was moving to California to be near his sister. Hyun was opening a restaurant in Queens, something he'd always dreamed about. You should come to the opening, Hyun said. Bring Zara, it'll be good food, I promise. We'll be there, Min-jun said. 3 weeks after the FBI deal closed, Zara came home from class with a determined look on her face. "Tonight," she said. Min-jun looked up from his laptop. "Tonight what?" "Tonight we figure out the elephant in the room." She dropped her bag. "I've been doing research, medical research, and I'm ready if you are." His heart started pounding. "Zara." "I want you," she said simply. "I want all of you, and I'm tired of waiting." They started slow, so slow it was almost painful. Kissing on her bed, hands exploring, learning each other's bodies without the pressure of performance. Zara was patient, clinical when she needed to be, and absolutely devastating when she wanted to be. "Tell me if anything hurts," Min-jun said, voice strained. "I will, but I trust you. Trust me too." It took time, lots of communication, some laughter when things got awkward. A few moments where they had to stop and regroup. But eventually, finally, they figured it out. And when it worked, when they moved together, when she gasped his name, when pleasure built between them without pain, Min-jun felt something break open inside him. All the shame, all the fear, all the loneliness that had told him he was fundamentally broken. Gone. Afterwards, Zara curled against him, sweaty and smiling and perfect. "See," she whispered, "not insurmountable." He laughed, the sound shaky. "You're amazing." "We're amazing," she kissed his chest. "Together." By December, they'd fallen into a life that felt almost normal. Zara was acing her final semester. Min-jun had landed his first consulting client, a small Korean restaurant chain looking to expand. It wasn't running an empire, but it was honest work, and it felt good. They spent Christmas with Kenya, who'd agreed to visit New York for the holidays. The three of them cooked together, laughed together, and Kenya pulled Min-jun aside at one point. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for protecting her, for choosing her." "She chose me too," Min-jun said. "I'm the lucky one." On New Year's Eve, Min-jun took Zara to the rooftop of his old penthouse building. He'd sold the penthouse itself, too many ghosts, but he still had access to the roof. They stood looking out at Manhattan, fireworks starting to bloom across the skyline. "A year ago," Zara said, "I was dancing in that club, saving every penny, hiding from my past." "A year ago," Min-jun said, "I was alone in my penthouse, convinced I'd never have what other people had." She turned to him. "And now?" "Now I have everything." He pulled a small box from his pocket. Zara's eyes went wide. "Min-jun." "I know it's fast," he said. "I know we've only known each other a few months, but I've never been more sure of anything." He opened the box. A simple diamond ring, elegant and understated. "Marry me. Build a life with me. The boring, normal, beautiful kind where nobody's shooting at us and the biggest crisis is what to have for dinner." Tears streamed down Zara's face. "You're sure? You're really sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life. You saved me, Zara. Let me spend the rest of my life loving you back." "Yes," she said, laughing and crying at the same time. "Yes, yes, yes." He slid the ring on her finger, and then the fireworks exploded overhead, gold and silver and red lighting up the night sky. They kissed as the city celebrated below, two people who'd survived the worst and found each other anyway. In May, Zara graduated with honors. Min-jun was in the front row, cheering louder than anyone. Kenya was there too, proud and beaming. In June, Zara passed her nursing boards on the first try and got hired at Mount Sinai. In August, they got married, small ceremony, just close friends and family. Hyun catered it. Tea flew in from California. Kenya stood as Zara's maid of honor. Agent Chen even sent a card. "Congratulations. Don't make me regret letting you go." They honeymooned in Bali, 2 weeks of beaches and peace, and no one trying to kill them. When they came back, they moved into a brownstone in Brooklyn. Nothing flashy, but theirs. Mango approved. Min-jun's consulting business was growing. He'd taken on 3 more clients, all small businesses owned by immigrants trying to make it. He used his strategic mind to help them succeed, and it felt good, better than good. It felt right. One night, a year after everything had changed, they were cooking dinner together. Zara was telling him about a patient she'd helped that day, her eyes bright with purpose. Min-jun was chopping vegetables, listening, occasionally adding something to make her laugh. And it hit him, this was it. This was everything he'd been searching for. Not power, not fear, not wealth. Just this, ordinary life with an extraordinary woman. What? Zara asked, noticing his expression. I'm just happy, Min-jun said simply. She smiled, that devastating smile that had hooked him from the beginning. Me too. They finished cooking together, ate dinner on their couch with mango between them, watched some ridiculous show Zara loved. And when they went to bed that night, tangled together in sheets that smelled like home, Min-jun thought about the man he'd been. Powerful, feared, alone. And the man he'd become. Free, loved, home. I'd choose you again, he whispered into Zara's hair. Every time, in every life. I know, she whispered back. Me too. Outside, New York hummed with its endless energy. Somewhere, deals were being made. Territory was being fought over. People were building empires and destroying them. But inside their brownstone, Kang Min-jun and Zara Jackson slept peacefully. Two people who'd walked through fire and come out the other side. Scarred but whole, broken but healed. Together, and that was everything. They say love can't save you. That it can't erase the past or heal old wounds. But sometimes, if you're lucky, if you're brave enough to let someone see all of you, the broken parts, the scared parts, the parts you've been hiding, sometimes love doesn't save you. Sometimes, it just gives you a reason to save yourself. And sometimes, that's enough. If you enjoyed this thrilling story, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with loved ones.